and gentlemen, hello there, and welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. I am MrWarrenHayes, and this is the NWA Powwerrr Recap Show right here, recorded live every Tuesday, immediately after NWA Powwerrr, right here on YouTube.com/MrWarrenHayes. I'm a little off-centered here. For those of you who are watching live here on YouTube, see, we have a jolly old band of folks here who popped in this evening. We have Carlos is here, Mr. Frets, Tim, that's fantastic. And I, of course, am here as well. And maybe you're watching this on demand on YouTube, which is fantastic as well. Or if you're watching this whenever you're watching it, do consider giving the video a thumbs up. Do consider sharing the video. That kind of stuff helps, and it helps the WarrenHayes Show grow. Boy, oh boy, does it help the WarrenHayes Show grow. And also, maybe you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, because the MrWarrenHayes Show, everything I do is available there as well. So you can go check that out, whether it's on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Podbeans, and also Portpan and Pinproo. They're all there. I'm actually going to start an application called Pinproo, and I'm going to spell it with 2 U's at the end. Pinpruu. Pinproo. And it's mine, and it's going to be my podcast application, and the gimmick is that every time you listen to an application, a podcast, I should say, you grow a beard. Now, you may be asking, what does a woman do then? Will she grow a beard if she listens to a podcast? Yes! Yes, she will. Not enough bearded women in the world today, according to me. What the hell I'm talking about? Yeah, so basically do that. Do that. Just listen to the MrWarrenHayes Show wherever. You know, I was actually kind of thinking, it started to make the, maybe next week, like for the NWA Powwerrr recaps, maybe I'll change my theme. Go for something a little more hair metal, you know, as opposed to my usual theme, just to set both shows really apart. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. So there you have it. Make sure you do all of that. Make sure you tune in to the MrWarrenHayes Show, the regular show, every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, just like this week. We'll be streaming live. We'll be recording live. I'm also going to be anchoring 2 of Fightful's post shows this week. I'll be anchoring the Wednesday Night Wars podcast, and I'll also be anchoring the SmackDown Live podcast this week. And it is my pleasure to say that since everyone... Because apparently it's a holiday in the United States this week, so everyone just stops doing stuff. Then they turn to Canadians to come and save them and make sure their shows stay on air, right? So on Friday, Black Friday, I will be doing the SmackDown post show, and I'll be anchoring it because Sean is going to be out doing something else. And I will be joined by none other than Kelsey, who is going to come provide analysis and color commentary over on Fightful, and that's very exciting. Kelsey from the Two-Face podcast and Super Kicking It with Kelsey. I love Kelsey. I know a lot of you love her as well. It's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to having her with me on Fightful, and that's going to be on Friday. So, yeah, be sure you be there. So there we go. Zeus King is in the chat, by the way. How you doing? I wish I could put some doc in on the stream, but it'll probably be something that will sound like it, but without being it, because I don't want any copyright strikes on my channel. Thank you very much. I want my videos to stay up as much as possible. So let's get to it. Let's start talking about Aaron's J fan. How you doing? Aaron J's fan, not Aaron's J fan. It's Aaron J's fan. So NWA Powwerrr this week, a little light on the wrestling, a lot light on the wrestling, because like I said, it's a holiday in the United States, so you know the rest of the world gets put on pause, right? The rest of us have to, we have to suffer through this for you, America. You're welcome. We're still, we still require entertainment. We need to be, to have derision and diversion in our lives. So, yeah, thanks for nothing. But I still have a few things to talk about. Probably won't be the longest stream. But yes, Fred say we already had Thanksgiving. We Canadians. It's done. We buried that one a while ago. About a month ago. A month and a half now. Sheesh. So it's gonna be a short one this week. So yeah. Don't want to get too much into it because I did talk about it at length over on my Patreon, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes if you feel like supporting the show. I did talk about it at length, but this was officially the first Power show post Jim Cornette. Like I said, I don't want to get into it because I've run through the whole subject on my Patreon, but I will say this: good move by the NWA. This is something that that was going to happen sooner or later, just in regards to the volatility. There's the word I was looking for, of Mr. Cornette. So, like I said, it was going to happen sooner or later. He was already treading a very fine line, and he just stumbled over it. And, well, not stumbled. Stumbled would imply that it was an accident. No, he just crossed it. He just stepped right over it. And it was the right call. And good for them. I also appreciate Nick Aldis's comments on the subject, where Nick, on his own behalf, said that Jim's comments did not represent what he, as champion, as someone who's been trying to build the NWA, it didn't represent or reflect the values that he was trying to instill into it. So, lots of interviews, lots of clips today. We had Eli Drake cutting a promo in Championship Wrestling of Hollywood. He apparently showed up there. Cut a promo essentially on two things. On Nick Aldis. Well, basically talking about his career. Nick Aldis talking about his own career, where he boiled it down to this. He said, look, I was in the NWA back when Championship Wrestling of Hollywood was known as NWA Hollywood. I left to do other things. Impact. And then he said, I come back. And while I was gone, Nick Aldis moved in. And then he became a big thing. So he started positioning himself. He's saying, you know what? I'm kind of a big deal here. Even compared himself to Ric Flair. Where he's saying people compare him to Ric Flair. But in reality, when you say that people are comparing you to someone, then you're legitimately comparing yourself to that person that's being compared to. Anyway, it was a good promo. Eli Drake is a fantastic talker. There's no problems there. And he also called out Ken Anderson. So there's a lot of blood, the bad kind, boiling between the two of these guys. Then we got, and I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to wrap this up here, because we got it in two segments. We had the footage from the Thunder Rosa MMA documentary, Into the Cage, her match that she had about a month ago. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fine. I liked the parts that I enjoyed most was when she was getting her hair done and she started talking more about herself, what she used to do. She used to work in a school for mentally challenged children, and she was talking about how that was difficult for her, because at the same time she was dealing with some stuff. She was depressed, and I thought that was really, really nice. We saw her getting ready to leave as well with Holodead, which was really cool. She of course wrestles on the independent circuit quite a bit with Holiday as the Twisted Sister. So that was nice seeing them both there. And then we didn't see the match per se, but the result, in case you didn't realize before now, she did lose her first match, but and you could tell, it just came at her, and she was crying and trying to get a grip, and her team was boosting her up. It was a nice moment, nice stuff. I liked it. I thought the personal stuff was really, really good, and it's something that when I'm critiquing WWE, I say this a lot. It doesn't take much for us as viewers to get involved with wrestlers if you portray them as humans, if you make them relatable. If we're like, okay, Thunder Rosa got depressed and she went through a really rough spot. There's a lot of people who can identify with that. And if they don't identify with that specifically, what they can at least appreciate the journey then afterwards, where she was able to overcome, or maybe, I don't know how far in she is, maybe she's still struggling. I don't know. But the point is that it makes wrestlers seem more human. And it didn't take much. It took these two little videos from within this documentary to make it happen. WWE likes to do the chronicle things that last an hour, but you don't have to do hour segments to make your wrestlers relatable or make them credible to us, make them look, feel, and act human. You don't need hour specials to do it. Then we had the only match of the evening, the Question Mark versus one of the Dawsons. And it is an empty arena match to begin with, but there's a stipulation. It's a Mask versus Shakespeare match. So if Question Mark loses, he has to unmask. But if the Dawsons lose, they have to recite Shakespeare, which is so fantastically, wonderfully stupid from Aaron Stevens, who is quite possibly right now in my top 5 performers in wrestling right now. His whole gimmick is amazingly absurd and over the top and ridiculous. I love it. Look, there wasn't much to this match here. The arena was empty. Everything happened in the ring. The Mark hits, gets in there with some. I think pairing Stevens and the Question Mark up is such a good call, because they're both on this same level of absurdity that we love in wrestling, right? This over the top stuff. And I like how Stevens, who is a fantastic promo and leans into this douchebag thespian character so well. I loved when he'd say that, the Question Mark is proficient in karate, and then the Question Mark would just grunt and go, karate. That's all he says. He's like some monster. I'm enjoying this a lot. But like I said, not much of a match here. There's a missile dropkick by the Question Mark, who ends the match essentially with the Mongrovian spike. Now, I think we need a Wikipedia page to locate Mongrovia, because I've looked for it and it does. There's a definite lack of information regarding the country of Monrovia online. So look, I completely love this. It's fine. So after the match, of course, the Dawsons lose, and they get handed a sheet of paper from Aaron Stevens, who hands it to the Dawsons to start reading off. It's actually Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. And they start reciting it. and Stevens starts getting physically ill because of their performance, because he's such an actor. He's such in tune with his emotions and the energy of everything. He can't stand them butchering Shakespeare the way they are. and he starts retching into he leans into the ring, and he pulls out a trash can, and he starts retching. He pukes into it. And what put it over to me was when the question mark leans over and still holds his hair back. And if his hair's not even that long, that was perfect. And what's cool as well is that the Dawsons at first were sort of not into it, but then they themselves started leaning into it with some phony British accents. I like my comedy in wrestling. What can I tell you? Next, we have a Melina interview, which is, let's go see what. Yeah, apparently in the chat, everyone dug the segment as well. Mr. Fred says, "Are we going to forget that Aaron Stevens used to come out to A Christmas Carol? Hallelujah from Handel's Messiah." No, we must not. Zeus King says, "My copy of Tropical Pirates on VHS just came in the mail." I'm really looking forward to Malibu Shogun. That's gonna be a good one. And Carlos says, "Do not butcher the bard." So Melina is out for an interview. And just a quick reminder, Melina has a long career in wrestling, having started in the early 2000s. She's a 5-time WWE Women's Champion. She won the Divas title twice. She won the Women's title 3 times. She's been with WWE in Ohio Valley Wrestling. She started in Ohio Valley Wrestling with WWE in 2004 with Eminem, John Morrison, and Joey Mercury, who are still in the news these days, but for entirely different reasons. She debuted on main roster in 2005, and she's had a very good career in WWE regardless, and it's a shame that they don't acknowledge her more than that, because she has had a part in legitimately 2 eras of women's wrestling, and there's a lot of stuff in this interview that I have a tendency to agree with, because she says she got into wrestling because back in the day, people used to fight for something, like for their means or for their family or whatever. You know, now people fight for ego. We're still fighting, but it's not for the same reasons. She says she started using moves and caring for entrances before anyone else did. And she says she doesn't get the credit she deserves. And I have a tendency to agree here. Like I said, she worked through 2 different eras of women's wrestling. She was there before the Divas, and she was into the Divas era, and she could work. Was she a Riho? Was she a Charlotte Flair? Was she an Asuka? No. But she did bring credibility because she was able, and still is, able to wrestle. She took a hiatus and came back to the independent circuit a couple of years ago, and glad to see her at NWA. She basically says, she talks about Allison Kay. Allison Kay saying that she's the best, and so on and so forth. But Melina says she isn't the best. Allison Kay, you're not the best until you beat the best, and she calls herself a living legend. And she says the NWA Women's title deserves more than what Allison Kay is doing with it right now. Well, like Zeus King says, Melina adds some spark to NWA Powerrr, and I concur. She's a great addition to the women's division, if only because she is a veteran. She has been around the block a couple of times, and she does add spark, I think is the right word. I'd even say some shimmer, not to make any stupid puns with other female promotions, but she does add some shimmer to the promotion as well. It's a great addition. I'm questioning putting all of your heels into one stable to go up against Allison Kay. Like the women's division in NWA clearly is growing, and they're putting some serious thought into it, but it's still very limited. And you know, as much as I like Ashley Vox, Oceana, she they haven't been booking her really strong. Like, she's been eating a lot of pins, and that's fine. Someone has to do that, but you can't just have like all your heels on one side, and you can't have mostly heels first and foremost, and they can't all be aligned either. There's a little mix here that's missing. But look, it's an hour show a week. They have maybe 8 women signed to the promotion right now. I think they're doing pretty good because I care about all these women right now. That's the thing. They, with very, very short time, just giving them matches and compelling stuff to do, I end up caring about them. What more do I want? Well, I want more women's matches. That's what I want. And then we led on to the big announcement and the rundown of the Into the Fire card for the pay-per-view coming up on December 15th. It's on its way, and 4 matches were announced tonight. 5 matches were announced tonight. No, 4 matches were announced tonight, including the main event. First of all, we're going to get the Question Mark versus Trevor Murdoch. We're going to get Allison Kay and Ashley Vox in a tag team versus 2 people of Team Melina. So apparently Melina is now the de facto leader of this trio here. So either Melina, Thunder Rosa, or Marty Bell are going to be on the opposite team. Joe Golly put out there that he wanted us to tweet out who we want to see in the team against Kay and Vox. If I'm a betting man, I'm thinking they go with Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell, and they keep Melina and Kay away from each other because clearly they're positioning Melina as a big time player, the real main event threat. Then keep her away from Allison Kay as long as possible. That's how I'd do it. Then also announced Eli Drake versus Ken Anderson, and then the challenger for Nick Aldis. The challenger for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship was announced. Even before that, we got news that there was going to be a stipulation, 2 out of 3 falls. And I like that. And the challenger for Nick Aldis' title is going to be, not much of a surprise, Cowboy James Storm. This should be a fun fight. 2 out of 3 falls. These 2 seasoned guys really don't mind wailing into each other. I'm okay with this. This is a good card so far. I think there's a lot of potential to it. You're going to have to add in Eddie Kingston and Homicide in here somewhere, probably for the tag titles. That's what I'd do. I'd bring them back around to challenge for the tag titles again. That would be my call. Let me know in the comments here on YouTube or even on your podcast player. Who do you think NWA should add here on the card? If you were booking this and you had a couple of slots for a couple of more matches, who would you put on here? Who would you showcase? Who deserves a spot here? Of course, Colt Cabana is going to be defending the title, but against whom? Against whom? Let me know what you guys think. Look, this is about it. This is it. That's the show. This is everything that happened of interest and compellingness on the show. Oh, we got Billy Corgan flexing once again that he has 3 sold-out shows in a theater in New York. But aside from that, I mean, I'm going to wrap this one up. This was probably the quickest Mr. Warren Hayes show of all time, and you were here to live through it. You can tell your grandchildren, you know what? I have proof that Warren Hayes can do a wrestling show under 30 minutes. I have proof, children. It's been recorded. So there we go. So that'll be that. That's what we'll do for this evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out here tonight. Don't forget, tomorrow night on Fightful, come and join me and Alex Pawlowski and Jeremy Lambert on the Wednesday Night Wars podcast. I'm going to be sitting in Sean's seat since he's out Thanksgiving it up. And on Friday, for the Thursday, back here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes for the Mr. Warren Hayes show. See, Thanksgiving or not, I'm here. And on Friday, Black Friday, the SmackDown post show, and I will be there, joined by Kelsey. Special week. It'll be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for taking time out of your busy days to hang out and let me invade your internet for a few minutes. Seems like that's not it here. Thank you. Bye.